Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay, so we saw last time how he's taking the whole thing up to the 11th verse. We saw how you recognize Ishvara in everything. Okay. So Ishvara is never out of sight, out of mind. That's the most important thing, because your relationship with Ishvara is something fundamental. Whereas in other relationships, you are having a meal, okay, you're relating to the food, okay, at that time you're not relating to a walk. You're relating to your mother, you're not relating to your wife, unless your mother is cribbing to you about your wife. Each relationship excludes the others. There may be some linkages, but basically each relationship is separate. Keep your work at home, keep family things at home. Work in the office, family others. Unless you're working from home, okay? Now it's all, lines are getting blurred, which is not very healthy. Okay. Now, but relationship with Ishvara is not like that. You are related to your mother, but you are related to Ishvara, she is also related to Ishvara. Fundamental relationship. You are relating to wife, you are related to Ishvara, she is also related to Ishvara. You are relating with food, that's also Ishvara, you are also Ishvara. Your work, that's also expression of Ishvara, you are also expression of Ishvara. So Ishvara is in and through everything. So it's not an exclusive relationship. When you think of your wife, you're a husband. When you think of your work, you're an employee. When you think of your Ishvara, you're a devotee. It is not like that. Devotion is 24/7. 365 days a year. It's something that's constant. If you recognize that, you're a great bhakta. Okay. Yeah. And that is why he is presenting it here like that, so that you will be able to see it like that. And then he doesn't elaborate further. He says, I have given enough examples. He concludes that by saying, Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajastamasya et mattaha eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi yaccha satviki bhava rajasam tamasam chaya. Anything that is made of sattva, rajas, tamas. Why is he saying that? Because the whole creation, in a way, is a product of Maya. It's Ishvara. Ishvara means consciousness manifests through Maya Shakti. Therefore, everything in the world, anything and everything, will have sattva, rajas, tamas in it. There is nothing which is purely sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Even when you are going to classify food, etc., everything will have sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. There will be a sattvic aspect, rajasic aspect, tamasic aspect to it. So the sattvic aspect is knowledge, all things bright and beautiful. Rajasic aspect is action and whatever is responsible for action, which includes desire, etc., etc. Tamas is inertia and inert material. So a clod of earth, tamas. But some earth is sattvic. How do you think we decide where you can have a temple, which land is suitable for a temple or an ashram, what is suitable, etc.? You think you can put anything anywhere? don't work. Even after selecting it well, there are problems coming up. Okay. So, a sattvic place is good for a temple or an ashram or something. Rajasic is okay for industries and even housing, etc. Purely tamasic places are only meant for, poultry, smashan, burial grounds, etc. So, land is selected that way, even though land is supposed to be inert. So, anything will have sattva, rajas, tamas in it. Depending upon what is the nature of the land. Each land has got some properties. Now elaborating, we'll have to go too much into the nature of the land, Vastu Shastra, everything. It's too elaborate a topic, right? When a Gita class, okay? The focus will be lost. Okay? I'll give you that's the thing. So what each land is meant for. So unless we are actively involved in purchase of land, we don't have to bother about this. Okay? Those who are involved in purchase of land, if you select a piece of land, then let me know, I'll tell you what to do. To check out. Wherever there are a lot of trees growing, great amount of trees and vegetation, generally it is sattvic. Okay? Unless people have cut it down because of their greed. Even then it is sattvic because it can sustain a lot. Okay? Can sustain a lot. Therefore, anything in the world, he says, which is made up for sattva, rajas, tamas, matteva tan vidhi. Understand, all this is from me alone. In fact, the whole universe is nothing but a manifestation of me, including the tamasic ones. Because inertia is necessary, inert objects are necessary. It is not that tamas is bad. All of us have a lot of tamas. That's why we can sleep in the night. If you didn't have tamas, you wouldn't be able to go to sleep. You won't be able to relax. You won't be able to chill out. Of course, if you have too much of tamas, you'll be lazy and indolent. Won't feel like doing anything. And then say, because I'm spiritual. But we'll come to that. When he's dealing elaborately with sattva, rajas, tamas, I will elaborate that part of it more. He himself does it. He says, matteva tam vidhi. Understand, that's all from me. They are in me, I am not in them. Don't think the Lord is sitting in everything. The whole creation is in the Lord. There's no divine spark in everyone, okay? Don't reduce Ishvara to a spark plug. Divine spark in everyone. Oh, divine spark. Whole creation is in Ishvara. Ishvara is in and through, inside, outside, everywhere. The idea is to recognize that. All this he has been talking so that you can recognize. Inside, outside, everything, all there is only Ishvara. You are like a wave in the ocean, looking for the ocean. Can you imagine how silly it is? If a wave in the ocean decides, I want to have Ishvara darshan, मैं किधर जाऊँ ईश्वरा के लिए? I will go to Rishikesh to get Ishvara. And who's Ishvara? Of the ocean. And he's looking up and praying, oh Lord, where are you? Why don't you reveal yourself to me? He's in and round. He is in Ishvara. What are you talking about? The wave is in the ocean. Ocean is not in the wave. You are in Ishvara. So what is not sacred? The whole idea is this. What is not sacred? There's a sense of sacredness in everything that you do, including the enemy you fight. He's also a manifestation of Ishvara, isn't it? The terrorists that I fight is also a manifestation of Ishvara. There are some distortions come in there, some tamasic, rajasic distortions have come in there, that's all. And he looks at me and he thinks, idiot. full of tamas. Can't accept what I believe in, so he's an idiot. He also thinks the same. You may deal with the terrorists with the point of your sword, but the fact is nothing but Ishvara. So killing, a spiritual student can kill. Na hanye hanyamane sharire, second chapter, don't forget that. Don't forget all that we have learned in the second chapter. Na hanta na hantaram, neither the killer nor the killed. So keep the whole perspective, okay? Not piece by piece. Okay. So that is all that is there, he says. May you, in fact, see, this is a major difference between Hinduism and all religions. There are ancient religions which are pantheistic, which believe in many gods and one super lord on top of them. Like Roman gods or Greek. Roman gods are nothing but a modification of the Greek ones, okay? With Zeus, etc. So they have a god for rain, they have a god for they have a god for war, they have a god of wisdom, they have all this. Because they were all aspects of human function, so they put God for one of them. Pantheistic. Okay. Then along came other religions saying all this is wrong, there is only one God. Which is just, see, at least pantheism, you have some demonstrable logic. Well, you require so many people to put up a building. You need an architect, you need a structural engineer, you need a what do you call, utilities person, who will decide where the electric pipes etc. go. Before the work has started, all this is there. Then you need a contractor, labor, etc., carpenters, masons, just to put up a small little building. Then how are you saying there is one God to put up this whole creation? Seems illogical. So this one God theory, where did you get it from? That there is only one God. And each person gives his own favorite name to that God. Chalo, theek hai. The problem comes if you don't believe in him, I'll kill you. That's when the problem comes. Otherwise, you believe what you want, yaar. If you want to have a foolish belief, please have it. You're welcome. And if you think my belief is foolish, you're welcome for that also, because that's your right. But when you think I don't have a right to exist because of my belief, then the problem comes up. Yeah. Or I want you to convert to my belief system. Then all the conflict between religions will start. Now, as against both these, the Hindu idea or the Sanatana idea, the Vedanta idea, is that there is only God. Whole creation is nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. And that can be logically understood. All that is there is existence, consciousness, and that from there the whole thing is manifest, etc. That's what we have been saying all these chapters. So it is not a question of only one God, it's a question of only God. Then what about the multiple gods that are in Hinduism? That's how you are invoking. That's your invocation. How that Ishvara, how you are relating to him. If you can relate to the totality, no problems. But many people who say they can relate to the totality can't really relate. They like the intellectual idea of it, but there is no relating to the totality. How do you relate to the totality except in harmony? You are not in harmony. You are disturbed. People disturb you. throw you off track. So then you're saying I'm relating is only that you can understand the idea. Nothing more than that, not relating. Because relating has an emotional component. And that emotion is in response to what the idea is. So if Ishvara has everything, response to be is supposed to be harmony with everything. Even if you are fighting with someone, you are supposed to be in harmony. That's a harmonious fight. You have to see what a harmonious fight looks like. See two martial artists who are into energy work fighting. Then you will see the harmonious fighting there. How looks like a dance of energies. But if you come in contact with any part of their body, you have had it. But that's also harmony, okay? So, then because you need something to you relate, that's called Ishta Devata, what form you can relate to. So, there is only God is supposed to be the understanding. And you relate through your Ishta Devata or according to your needs. Yaar, I am struggling a lot here. Dhana bhavena kilbisham. Mahalakshmi Stotra. Dhana bhavena. Paisa nahi hai yaar, iske liye problem hota hai. All right. Invoke the Lord as Lakshmi. No power to get anything done. Invoke as power. As Lord Shiva. As Vishnu. Invoke as Durga. Invoke. What do you want? Too many problems in my life. Ganesha. I am in major hassle here. Hanumanji. Solve the issues fast. Apatuddhara Stotra. Yeah, if you're really in a big problem, Apatuddhara Hanumat Stotra. So all these are invocation either according to need or to how you can relate with one Ishvara. One Ishvara, only Ishvara. Okay, this is the idea. Not one Ishvara, God. Only God. Okay, only Ishvara. Okay. Then, hey Swamiji, if this is so simple, why don't we all get it? Why don't everyone understand this is itna seedha sada baat hai? True. When even forget everything, all the consciousness part of it. Even if you are just talking about Ishvara as the efficient and material cause, it's so easy now to get that. There has to be intelligence behind the whole thing and there has to be material behind the whole thing. So Ishvara is nothing but abhinna, nimitta, upadana, karana. The non-dual, material and efficient cause. Nimittam efficient, upadanam material, abhinnam non-dual. Simple as that. So whole thing is nothing but manifestation. Itna simple baat hai. Why don't people get it? Everyone should naturally understand this, na? All right, here it is. Why don't people don't understand? Triguna-mayi bhavebhihi sarvamidam jagat mohitam na vijanati mamebhya paramabhyayam. He says the entire creation. Triguna-mayi bhave. By these bhavehi, by these forms, which are trigunatmikam, made of sattva, rajas, tamas, what is your attention on them? Why? Because you don't know yourself. Your mind is clouded by the same maya. By the same sattva, rajas, tamas, your mind is also a product of sattva, rajas, tamas. Therefore, tamas is ignorance in the human mind. So you have that same ignorance, which is maya shakti in the individual mind becomes ignorance, avidya. So what? Mohitam na vijanati. By that you are deluded. You take yourself, I am this much only, and all this is the world. Then you'll start hunting from where did the world come. And you'll hunt to various ways, including science. All that is a pursuit of trying to see where the world has come from. No? What is the basic building block for the world, including science. Technology is the application of whatever you have discovered. The pursuit of science is to see what is the fundamental thing. So you look at it in 100 different ways. Okay. But na abhijanati what? Mame bhya param avyayam. Me, the absolute, unmanifest condition. The one that is the pure consciousness. Nobody knows it. It's all missed out by everyone. Everyone misses it out. Everyone misses that these days. Naturally, because ignorance is sitting in your heart, no? In your mind, tamas manifests as ignorance. Because your mind is a product of tamas. Sattva, rajas, tamas is the product, is what has produced your mind. There it goes. So you're ignorant of it. Thank God you can seek knowledge. Why? There is a sattvic aspect also in your mind. But the tamas is strong. If tamas is strong, rajas will be the next strong thing. So you will run around getting things done, which is very good. Society will progress, etc. happens because you can run around and get things done. Or tamas is still stronger, you will say, I'm disillusioned with all this. I want to sit down doing nothing. That's not a great spirituality. That's tamas at work. Yeah. People mistake tamas for spirituality sometimes. Be careful. You have to stimulate that sattva. So how will you convert that rajas into sattvic thing? That's where karma yoga comes in. That's where karma yoga comes in. Understanding Ishvara comes in. Ishvara arpana buddhi comes in. Prasada buddhi comes in. From tamas to rajas is easy. You just have to get up and do things. You have to want things badly enough to do it. Or somebody should come and give you a kick on your butt. That's it. And world does that enough. You get enough kicks in the world. Yeah. So tamas to rajas happens. Then rajas to sattva is where all these things are necessary. Some thinking is necessary. Then you pursue the truth. Yeah. Then by God's grace you come to the teaching, and the teaching saves the whole thing. But there can be a big, this is Kali Yuga, remember, there can be a big chakkar of spirituality also. No, it's not linear, it is cyclic. You can go up and down. A rajasic person, because he is fed up with things, can become very tamasic also. The proportion of sattva, rajas, tamas keeps changing in your mind all the time. Early morning when you get up and you had your morning cup of tea, etc., then what happens? You're very sattvic. Then as the day goes, you become more rajasic. And a Saturday or a Sunday, good meal at home, what happens? Arya, lie down. Tamas.
Swamiji, what I actually meant to ask you was that can tamasic tendency progress directly to sattvic, or does it necessarily have to go through rajasic?
Some amount of rajas it has to go through. You can't jump from tamasic to sattvic thing.
So likewise, even if sattva has to progress towards tamas, it first goes through.
No, because it is cyclic. From tamas, if you get into laziness, you can get in. From sattvic, if you become lazy, you can become tamasic.
So there is no flux, as in one can blend into the other. I know I'm being
Yeah,
very
it
theoretical
does.
here, but
That's why exactly the
Yeah.
example I gave you, na, daytime, how you go through the day. Night, everyone is tamasic. The most sattvic person is tamasic in the night, na? Except the present generation. They are rajasic in the night. When you are meant to be tamasic, if you become rajasic, you have a big problem. That's why all that hormonal imbalance, heart attacks at 35, all that's happening because of that. When you're supposed to be tamasic and going to sleep, at least between 12 and 6 or 12 and 7, you're supposed to be asleep. Especially the sleep between 1 and 3. That 1 and 3 is supposed to be the most healthiest sleep you can get. Even people like us who do meditations in the night and things like that, energy work, we are told between 1 and 3, shut down before 1 o'clock everything and go to sleep. Because for people who do energy work, there is a fourth sandhya. 3 sandhyas everyone is familiar with. At around sunrise or just before, roughly 6 o'clock maybe, 6, 7, whatever. Midday when the sun passes the halfway mark. Evening time, 3 sandhyas. For people who do energy work or Devi worship, there is a fourth sandhya. That's 12 o'clock midnight. You can do some meditation now. Please don't try it unless you have been initiated into energy work. Don't read something on the net and try it, okay? If you go mad, don't blame me. I'll say one character, less problem. So even some of us who have done these energy work and all, he says close it all by 1 o'clock. Unless you have managed to get into deep samadhi before 1. If you got into deep samadhi before 1, anyway, there is not a problem. So either you should be asleep between 1 and 3 or in deep samadhi before that. Take your choice. Since samadhi is not guaranteed, you better be asleep. The maximum healing of your system happens at this time. So what is an ideal time to sleep? 1 capsule before, 1 capsule later. Each capsule is about 2 hours. So 1 and 3 become 11 and 5. This is the minimum sleep everyone needs, and this is the ideal time to sleep. Some of us don't manage that. Okay, at least by 12 o'clock, knock off. Otherwise, that at the time when you are supposed to be tamasic, and let nature work on you, the natural energies, Ishvara's energies work on you, you are keeping yourself awake and doing things which disturbs your setup. Then you will blame environment, pollution. None of this is responsible. Your own system is creating it by abuse. So that's what happens. Night time you are supposed to be tamasic, given to that. Morning time you are supposed to be sattvic, given to that. No, Soumya, study better late night. You are trying to reverse something. You are trying to reverse something. I'll share an example, from my own life. This was during my training days as a marine engineer. Marine engineer involves some amount of studying. It also involves 8 hours of work, actual physical work in a marine workshop. That's one of the qualifications. Those days you had to actually qualify. It was one of the most practical things you had seen, practical courses available in the world even today. Why? Because out at sea, if something goes wrong, you can't say call an expert. Between you and the expert, there is 500 miles of sea, of the ocean. Yeah, what expert? You are supposed to be the expert, take care of it. Therefore, you have to get your hands dirty. 8 hours in a marine workshop. Alternate days, 2 hours of theory. Alternate days for me personally, I would have 2 hours of martial arts. So I leave my house at 6:30 in the morning. come back by 8 o'clock. Tell me, am I in a position to sit and study after dinner? Because engineering you are doing, you have a lot of theory to study. It's not a simple course. A lot of mathematics involved, physics involved, applications involved. So throughout my engineering, I studied only 1 hour in the early morning. By 9 o'clock, I would go to sleep. 9:30, I'm off because I'm too fatigued. I come back, have a shower, have my dinner, my eyes are closing. 8 hours marine workshop and 2 hours of martial art training after that. My God. It's tough. Oh, working in a workshop? Yeah, you're just opening up the door of the engine. You're not started working on it, just opening up the doors. 200 nuts to be opened, each tightened to a pressure of 80 pounds. That means with a spanner you have to pull it open. That means you are doing rows. 200 times you are rowing with 80 pounds in your hand. How many of you can do it? In your prime? At 20. When you're in your 20s, how many of you can do 200 rows with 80 pounds? कर सकता है? That's why when I speak to sometimes I am called to speak to marine engineers. I tell them in my times, men were made of steel and ships were made of wood. Nowadays the other way around. Men are made of wood, ships are made of steel. I'm joking, I'm not that ancient to have been in wooden ships. Okay. But the idea is that in this toughness, you can't study in the night. Meant to be tamasic, 9:30 after dinner, 1 hour after dinner, you're fast asleep. Then you get up in the morning. If you slept at 9:30, you can get up at 4 o'clock. 1 hour study throughout my engineering life. That's all I've studied. And for engineering, I'm not extra brilliant, okay? I'm average. Or maybe mildly above it. That's all. I'm not this thing. Vedanta may be great. I am great. But not for marine engineering. Okay. That I was just like anyone else. But that 1 hour is enough. Sattvic time, Baba. You're using the best time possible. Forget this night and owl business. Nowadays I'm more of an owl because I get calls after 10 o'clock. So I'm sleeping after 12. That time I was a lark. This owl, lark, etc. All this modern stuff, na? Forget it. You can be anything you want. It's a choice that you make and you get your body used to that. That's all. Yeah. Therefore, the idea is what? Anything that has sattva, rajas, tamas, manifestation of Ishvara, that is the important thing. Forget the sattvic, rajasic, tamas too much. Okay? The idea is, all that is, yeah. And because of the tamas in your mind, you miss Ishvara in the process. You miss sight. Yeah. You missing Ishvara is missing everything. Because the heart of Ishvara is what? Pure consciousness, which is nothing but you. So when you miss Ishvara, you miss yourself also. Then you look, you become a little bit religious. Hey, duniya banane wale, kya duniya bana? You'll crumble. You should travel in Bombay trains to hear all this. You travel in Bombay, you get what? Philosophical people. All the beggars come and sing all these, all philosophical ones. Wow. दुनिया बनाने वाला क्या दुनिया बनाया? What type of world you made? Because you are trying to humanize the whole thing. That's your effort. So the effort is to humanize. So that's why I joke sometimes. A man was trekking in the forest and suddenly he comes face to face with God. And both look at each other and say, my creator. Because you have created God in your image, in your understanding. Yeah. Or like young Sheldon asking the pastor in the church, if there is a planet like human beings, they're all octopuses. Would God have sent Jesus to look like an octopus or a human being? Pastor scratching his head. I'll check up with the bishop and get back to you. Of course, to an octopian world, he'll send us an octopus only. Na? You have to be able to relate. For a Hindu, that's easy. We have forms like that, na? Ashtau Bhujangim Mahishasuramartane. 8-formed, 8-limbed Durga. Do you know we have one invocation of Ishvara as a Devata which has 2 dissimilar heads, 7 hands and 3 legs? Can anyone guess? What is this? 2 heads, one straight ahead and one at an angle. 7 hands, not 8 hands, not in pairs, 7.
Agni,
Not 2
Lord
legs.
Agni.
Huh?
Agni, no?
Agni,
Agni
yes.
said it.
It's Agni. Who answered that? Vinita?
Yeah, I answered Swami.
Yeah. It's Agni Deva.
So, yeah.
Because that's how Agni is portrayed in the Vedas. Why? Because fire, when you light a fire and let it grows disproportionately, not in harmony. It is not symmetrically, it doesn't grow symmetrically, it goes haywire. A natural fire will grow haywire. So, we are accounted for that also. It's a Devata, invocation. The only place where you will see a harmonious fire may be your gas in the kitchen. Even that, it's not always harmonious. If you let the full blast come on, it is not harmonious. Anyway, that apart. The idea is, why do you miss? Because of the tamas, the ignorance of them. Okay. And that Maya manifests in your mind as tamas, as avidya, ignorance. Then he says, Devi hi esha gunamahi mama maya durattaya mameva ya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. God, how do we get over this avidya, this maya business? He says, esha gunamayi daivim, divine maya. Don't take as maya as something I have a problem. It is my divine Shakti by which I manifest the whole creation. Therefore, Gunamayi. Gunamayi meaning made of Sattva Rajas Tamas. Gunamayi. Mama Maya, my Maya, Duratya, difficult to cross over. Okay, difficult to cross over. Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. You have to seek me as Ishvara, as pure consciousness to get over it, he says. So how do you seek? In the beginning, how will the seeking be? How did you all seek? How did you all start?
In the prayer rooms and all that for you.
Somewhere in a prayer room, in a this, it starts with a wonderment. You wonder what the world is about. And some people have learned how to monetize their wonderment. You know who they are?
Yeah.
Not even Sankhya, much before that. Wondering the world. What is this world meant? Some people learn to monetize this. They are the theoretical physicists, okay? Their job is also to wonder the world and create theories for it. Anyway, there is no experimental verification. That follows with the experimental physicists later. And some people wonder, turn it into poetry. They may get some money out of it. It all starts with that wonderment. No? What is this world about? Then you presume, you assume that there must be an Ishvara somewhere and you start praying. That's why it's culturally important to get that idea of Ishvara, whatever Ishvara, doesn't matter. What's culturally important, put that into kids, etc. Later on they'll understand. Later on you can explain what it's all about, if you know, or send them to somebody who knows. Yeah, it starts with that. It starts with a prayer that you want to know. Then by some God's grace, I'm telling you, it's sheer God's grace that you come to Vedanta. It is not me who is saying that. It is Shankaracharya, the Adi Shankara. In Viveka Chudamani he writes that. Durlabam Traime Vetat. These three things are very difficult to get in this world. Manushyatva, a human birth. Mumukshutvam, the desire for moksha. Mahapurusha Samashrayaha, meeting a Mahapurusha who can teach you all this. I know in my life it is only God's grace that got me to this. It is nothing else, not my effort. I was struggling. I wanted to travel and see the world. Yeah. My martial tendency is very, very strong. But God's grace. Yeah, it really, that is why, because God's grace is necessary, Vedanta is always presented along with Ishvara. That's one of the reasons. There are many other reasons also, but Vedanta is always presented with an understanding of Ishvara, because without that God's grace, it won't work out. And I have seen there are some good teachers who try to teach this without Ishvara. They all get stuck halfway. I known them, I met them, I've interacted with them, I've debated with them, I shared a cup of coffee with them, all of them. But they get stuck halfway. So, it's important, the understanding of Ishvara. It says, those who seek me, they will get. In fact, in the Upanishad, Undaka, it's a very, very strong statement. It says, you won't get the Atma by doing this, by doing this, by doing this, by doing that. You won't get by all these things. Then how do you get? He says, those who choose, they will get. So you have to make that conscious choice also. Understand what the human problem is about. Make that clear. Your human existential issue. Your problem is not food, clothing, shelter, not having a partner, not having someone to love. All this is topical, day-to-day problems which you can handle. The human problem goes much more than that. Your basic existential issue of isolation, of finitude, of loneliness, of purposelessness. These are fundamental issues. How do you solve that? You have to discern that what is it that you really want out of life. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, 2nd chapter. There will be a nice article about all those things in next month's newsletter. Read it. Okay. Yeah. So all this, unless you seek, you are not going to get it. If you seek also, you won't get it. Why? The very seeking is denial of what you are, isn't it? Look at the paradox you are in. If you don't seek and say, after all, life is about the unknown and the known. Let it be. I will go live my simple life. Do good, be good. You're not going to get it. Most of our middle class morality, you're not going to get it. No, I will seek. And the very seeking is denial of the fact you are consciousness, isn't it? But seeking is better than not seeking. Why? At least you will stumble upon something, some book, some teacher, some speaker, somewhere. And you will come to the truth. Good enough? Yeah. That's how the whole thing comes. Yeah. What happens the other way around? Okay? If you don't bring this seeking into your life, what happens? Or why don't you people seek? He gives the other side the picture also. Namam dushkritino moodaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya apurhata jnanaha asuram bhavamashritaha. Dushkritinaha. Alright, you are let Ishvara go out of your life. Ishvara going out of your life is also Dharma going out of your life, okay? Though you need not always believe in Ishvara to be a dharmic person, an ethical person. Because there have been many atheists in this world who have been very ethical persons, okay? We have to give them that also. But generally speaking, even if he says I am an atheist, but he believes in ethics, there is some Ishvara coming into his life in the form of ethics. He may not recognize it, but Dharma is nothing but a manifestation of Ishvara. So that much of Ishvara is coming into his life. Supposing you deny that also, then what will happen? Namam dushkrutanaha moodaha prapadyante naradamaha. If you are living that type of a life, what is that? Dushkritinaha. Doing all the wrong things in life. Okay? Moodaha. Deluded. Idiotic. Prapadyante naradhamaha. Namam prapadyante. They don't reach me. Nara adhamaha. They are really, what if I use a Western word, fallen souls, yeah. Yeah. It's a Western word. We don't normally use it. Okay? Yeah. Adhamaha. Come on, yeah. Where is the glory of human life in what you are doing? Why are they doing that? Mayaya aprahata jnana. Their minds, jnanam here, not knowledge. It's your mind. Jnana sadhanam is called as jnana. Mayaya aprahata. Carried away by maya. The sattva rajas tamas is too strong, especially the tamas part of it. Therefore, asuram bhavam ashrita. Remove dharma from your life. What is there in your life after that? Basic dharma remove from your life. That is basic understanding of Ishvara. Remove that from your life. What is there? Khao, piyo, maja karo. Eat, drink, be merry. Exploit people for the sake of your enjoyment. Then it goes into depravity after that. That's called asuram bhava. That's why there is a Sanskrit subhashitani. It is taught to children also, that age. Subhashitanis are folk sayings that even the children pick it up as part of learning the language. Okay? Ahar nidra bhayam maitunam cha. Ahar, to eat. Bhayam, fear, insecurity. Nidra, sleep. Ahar, nidra, bhayam. Maitunam, sex. Samanametat pashubir narana. They are the same for animals and human beings. Human beings also have a sense of insecurity, etc. Fear, need for food, bhayam, nidra, sleep, maitunam, sex. They also have a need. Some of these desires may be seasonal for them. For us, it can be 24 hours. That's the only difference. 24/7 we can have it. Bhayam aitanam cha. Okay. samanam etat pashubir narana. The same for a human being and a pashu, an animal. Dharmo hi tesham adiko dharmo hi tesham adiko sabha. What is extra? Dharma. Dharmo vihina pashubir samana. One bereft of dharma is like a pashu, like an animal only. So the basic human life is based on dharma. That much of Ishvara comes into everyone's life. Why? Because you have a freedom of choice. Animals do what they are programmed to do. They stick within their programmable limits. Human beings are not like that. We have the freedom of choice, and our freedom is almost absolute. We can do anything. And if you have that much of freedom, you need some wisdom to guide you. That wisdom is dharma. Basis of dharma is instinctively recognized by all human beings. That's why when you do something wrong, you hide and do it. Privacy is different. I'm talking about hiding and doing something wrong. That's why you don't have to teach a 2-year-old about being honest. He's brutally honest, embarrassingly honest. You have to teach him. Social niceties, tell blood, don't say all these things. So it's recognized by human beings. You need that dharma to guide you, some wisdom to guide your freedom of choice. Otherwise, pashubhir samana. Because you have the intelligence, you'll be worse than an animal. An animal will kill for food, or if it is threatened. Either the animal or the offsprings are threatened, then will kill, not otherwise. Humans will kill for pleasure. Can you imagine killing for pleasure? What is it? Hunting. Yeah, I'll accept hunting. Go after the tiger. Don't tie a goat below, sit in a mancha 50 feet high with a telescopic rifle and shoot. That's not hunting. That's slaughtering. Hunting, this tiger is bigger than you. So we will give you a spear in your hand. A spear, a rope, a knife. Now go after the tiger. Now balance is equal now because you have a knife and a spear. Knife for long distance, spear for close quarters. And a rope to entrap. Now go after the tiger. I will respect you. If you can hunt like that, you have my respect. Otherwise, what hunting? You are killing for pleasure. That's abuse. Yeah.
We'll have to be Kantara for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They hunted for food. Understandable. Used to survive. Yeah. Otherwise, that is why without the dharma, human being becomes pathetic. People would come to India to shoot a tiger like that and take photograph with a rifle in hand and what? You had a dozen beaters to drive the animal towards you so that you can shoot it. Idiotic stupidity. Like Tarzan, go after them now with spear in hand. Then I'll respect you. Yeah. You have something in you. Yeah. It may still be wrong, but at least it deserves some respect. Because you are willing to give the animal a chance to get you. Yeah. You are giving it a fighting chance. Both of you have a fighting chance. That is fair. Okay, that's fair. Hunt like that. Yeah. Otherwise, the dharma guiding is what Ishvara is about, what actions are about. Okay. Otherwise, asuram bhavam ashritaha. Yeah. In what way is that hunter better than an asura? You're killing for pleasure? What is that? What's pleasurable about killing? I won't kill to eat unless my survival is in question. Then I may do that. Yeah, I was to eat, I won't kill. Come on, another life. Now, I am not advocating vegetarianism, etc. here. That's not what I am doing. I am talking for value structure. Okay, why do you have to kill to eat? There are so many other things available. Yeah. Oh, but Swamiji, but what about proteins, etc.? So, this man came and told Madras Cafe owner, okay, Sir, you need to have minimum 30% of your calories coming from proteins and only 70% from carbs or less, from vegetables also. Says, enna raskala, you see. Enna raskala. We make our idlis and dosas with 2.5 cups of rice and 1.5 cups of dal. We have been doing this for the last 500 years and you are coming and telling me this now. We have 40% proteins and 60% carbs in our diet. What are you telling us all this wisdom? You all do it. This protein myth is another big one. Okay, I have spoken to professional bodybuilders. Even they say 50% from carbs, 40% from proteins, 10% from fats. Their diet. Bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders. So all this extra protein, you will end up with kidney issues by the time you are 60. Guarantee. Yeah. Anyway, therefore, asuram bhavam, okay? All these become justification for your asuric tendencies, that's all. You use science to justify it. If you want to eat meat, be honest and say, yeah, I want to eat meat. At least there's some honesty coming in. That much dharma is coming into it. Yeah, I like it, I want to eat it. At least there's honesty. Don't justify. Yeah. I remember as a martial artist, years ago, I became vegetarian because of martial arts. This expert told me, go lower on the evolutionary scale. Instead of meat, eat fowl. Instead of fowl, eat fish. I said, then by your logic, you will say be vegetarian. He said, yes, I am a vegetarian. He was a monk and he was a great expert in energy combat. With all my skill as a black belt, I couldn't touch him. That day I said, forget it. If your reflexes and all are faster with vegetarian food, why am I eating this non-vegetarian? I never was very fond of it anyway. I used to go gaga over it. I was eating it only for health because I was brought up with physical culture, toughness, etc. Yeah, forget it, chhod do. Because I want to be someone like that guy in martial arts. Yeah. Yeah. And I found a difference. Within a year, I found a huge difference in my performances. Yeah. It's verified, tested. Otherwise, I will never talk about it. Anything I consider myself as an acharya, and acharya takes it seriously. What is an acharya? Achinoti shastrartha. Gathers the meaning of the shastra. Swayam acharan, having tried it out himself. Paran achareti, he helps others follow it. So if I have not verified it, I won't talk about it. Okay. Yeah. So this is it. Alright. Asuram bhavam. Then having said this, he talks about devotion and the type of devotees that are there in the world. So all the devotees in the world he brings down to 4 types. Interesting topic. Okay. But that we will keep for the next class. Okay. So next class we will have that part about devotees and types of devotion. Okay. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.
Pranam, Swamiji. Thank you.